Hello once again. And who doesn't know me? I'm Pranas from Teltonika Networks marketing team. And today I'm not alone. Here with me is Thomas Mikolaitis, product development manager from Teltonika.
Yeah,
And
becoming a, yeah, I'm becoming
yeah,
a quite often guest here with new devices.
we are very happy to have you often guest here because we know that we introducing more new devices. And today is the same. Today we will introduce the newest additions to our portfolio, and Thomas is ready to share technical details of our newest portfolio additions. So please place your questions in Q&A section. They will be answered in the end of the webinar. So please do not write your questions in the chat window, but in Q&A window. Thank you for that. And I would like to start going a bit back in time. You may be surprised, but just a few seconds ago, I was talking about new products, and now I'm showing picture of discontinued one. However, RUT240 paved the path to success. It has its own special place in our portfolio history and maybe in someone's heart, and still powering connectivity to millions of use cases. RUT240 as a whole RUT2 4G router series can be placed as a symbol of success. And this success can be proved by statistics. RUT2 is the all-time best-selling series of devices in our portfolio. And RUT2 acquired this name as best-selling device series due to their simplicity, reliability, and efficiency. These devices fit most of industrial, smart city, transportation, and retail connectivity purposes and are used all around the globe. But what happens when 5G becomes a real demand in industrial IoT, not only great buzzword? And according to some statistics, 5G should overtake 4G by the number of subscriptions in 2027. And moreover, it is estimated that global 5G subscriptions will reach around 6.3 billion in 2030, and this will equaling almost 70% of total mobile subscriptions. However, looking at the statistics, we can see that 4G is still maintaining strong demand in global connectivity market, but 5G demand is booming and we are following global tendencies. To meet the growing demand, we are launching new 5G router, RUTM30. This device will be combining the best of both worlds, compactness and efficiency of RUT2 series and performance of RUTM 5G devices. We know that TRB500 is one of the smallest industrial 5G gateway in the market, and our R&D did a great job and squeezed router performance into enclosure size similar of TRB500. RUTM30 will have outstanding 5G performance and backwards compatibility with 4G and 3G networks. It will feature 2 SIM cards and eSIM with up to 7 profile support, Wi-Fi 5, and 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. RUTM31 looks identically, apart 4G Cat12 support and no available eSIM and standard package, but there are more secrets that this device hides. And here, Thomas can spill the secret.
Yeah, thank you, Pranas, about introducing our new additions to portfolio RUTM30 and M31. As mentioned, M31 has a bit own secret of its own comparing with M30. And of course, what we understand when bringing M31 is that budget is the most important thing for many customers. It's a king in all the solutions. And that's why we have developed the RUTM31. We brought the exceptional value for this router without compromising its quality. However, we have to address one thing in this room, that the rollout of RUTM41 will start in the selected regions, which you can find in our website or just contact your sales manager to see if your region is qualified for RUTM31 and can be used at the moment. So this is, I think, the key part of RUTM31, when we are comparing these two devices.
Thank you, Thomas. And now let's see what sales possibilities that these devices will open. We believe that RUTM30 or RUTM31 will be perfect fit future-proofing connectivity no matter what application. From providing network connection for payment terminals or CCTV in food truck, or being reliable source of connectivity for billboards in remote locations near highways, to ensuring reliable connectivity in complex network topologies of manufacturing facilities, even for the private networks. And we should not stick to this mentioned use case only. There are many more. Starting with industrial IoT, the RUTM30 provides robust high-speed connectivity that supports real-time data transfer and remote monitoring in manufacturing environments. Its rugged design ensures reliability even in harsh industrial conditions. Next, digital signage. With the rise of smart city infrastructure and dynamic advertising, the RUTM30 ensures content can be updated instantly and remotely, thanks to its fast 5G connectivity and secure remote management features. For point of sale, it enables stable, secure internet for fixed and mobile payment terminals. It is crucial in retail, hospitality, and service sectors where transaction speed and uptime are critical. And finally, intelligent transportation systems. Here, the router supports vehicle-to-infrastructure communication, traffic management, and real-time monitoring. Overall, the RUTM30 can take all successful cases of RUT2 series, but on steroids, or better say, on 5G. And in standard package, there will be everything that is needed to use the device straight out of the box. We believe that our clients have to get everything needed to use our device without additional waiting for the crucial accessories. So we pack everything in the box straight from our warehouse. And actually, we have another important update for our device. RUT9 series is the second best-selling series in our portfolio, and today we have a new iteration, rather evolution than a revolution, with long-awaited feature. And besides well-known features, RUT951 gets long-awaited one, POE+. Power budget is 90 watts, and it's 30 watts per port. Also, it will be possible to power up RUT951 via WAN port. And worth mentioning, to have PoE functionality, the device has to be powered with at least 44 volts. And Thomas, spill more details about this device.
Yeah, so of course, I think, all who join here is not, a new guys, in the town to know what PoE is. But let's remember a few things about PoE, just ensure that everything is clear. So PoE itself, the standard of 802.3 AF was first introduced, in 2003, so quite a while ago. And during that time, we as an industry saw that 15 watts is sufficient amount of power required to connect various devices, IP cameras, access points, sensors, POS terminals, smart doorbells, card readers, and many, many more devices, which now we are powering over PoE. However, over time, the industry saw that power demand is growing. Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7 coming in, PTZ features for IP camera, and that brought us new standard, 802.3 or AT, which now can deliver up to 30 watts, which RUT PoE plus RUT951 PoE plus can achieve through a single port when combined with appropriate power supply. The neat part, what PoE plus brings, especially for RUT51 device, in this case, is that when it's powered with sufficient powering device, it can pass through the power, meaning that, while you at the same time with one cable, a user can power RUT51, and the surplus power given by the higher standard PoE plus standard can be shared with other devices through PoE ports. The same thing as we have with our OTD140, we have these capabilities in RUT951 PoE plus device variant. Of course, you just keep in mind, we are not breaking physics here, and we are not making power for thin air. So your daisy chaining capabilities and power pass-through will be limited by the input you are giving, to a device of RUT951. This is important to keep in mind when trying to power RUT951 via PoE and then connect other PoE devices to it. Of course, what we have to keep in mind is in that also PoE has types. The official PoE type, or 802.3 AF80 standards, which we are talking today, is also in industry referred as an active PoE, meaning that power delivering device and power sourcing equipment recognizes each other, and only then power is given. But there is an unofficial PoE, which is quite commonly seen in the industry, and of course our devices is a passive PoE. This type of PoE doesn't have any handshakes, and all the power is given, when you constantly provide a fixed voltage over Ethernet cable in a specific manner. What it means for this device, why I'm sharing this information. The RUT951 PoE plus router only supports active PoE in and out, meaning that if you wanted to achieve all the PoE capabilities for RUT951, we have to use appropriate power sourcing equipment, which can provide a PoE. And of course, in the same manner, the end devices also must support standard PoE. So, this is what we must address when we're talking about RUT951 PoE options. Talking about use cases, why this device is important. Quite often, what we heard from our partners is that when they are delivering, let's say, surveillance equipment, some in wild with our device, they had to use two devices, RUT241 we talked today, or RUT51 with a switch, which, for example, enables PoE out for IP cameras, speakers, etc. This addition to our portfolio, the RUT951 with PoE capabilities, eliminates the need of having two devices. We only, in your use cases, can only now have one single device. And you can power up to 3 devices with one power cable. Or if you even want to go in that direction, you can have a WAN cable powering a router. And then with limited capabilities, we can power an external device through our router. So this enables use cases, reducing components in there and helping the park. However, CCTV is not only one use case, it's only simple one use case. RUT51 can power many more devices, as mentioned at the beginning. POS system, smart building solutions, access control, remote monitoring, sensors, and many, many more. I believe that you as our partners can think way more capabilities and more use cases where our RUT951 with PoE expansion can go and apply its possibilities. So I highly suggest to try to grab it, test it in your solutions, and see how one of our best-selling devices can move forward your businesses forward.
Thank you, Thomas. And this device, RUT951 PoE Plus, also comes with all needed accessories in the box. There's only one exception. Because the device can be powered via Ethernet port, there's two options and two different order codes with power supply unit and without. You can find this order codes in our website, or you can contact your dedicated sales manager. We encourage to communicate with your managers directly. And if you do not have your dedicated manager, you can contact us by filling the contact form in our webpage, and we will be happy to answer all your questions about our devices and potential partnerships. And basically, there was everything that we want to share with you today. And we hope we have some questions in Q&A window. So let's overview them.
Yeah. So I see two questions, but essentially they are the same question. What I see, I guess. So Luis, sorry for maybe wrong pronouncing the name. What is the needed power supply so that RUT51 POE Plus can work as a POE out? So as Pranas mentioned, we have to go and use at least 44 volts DC to enable POE out. So meaning that, the lowest possible voltage we can use to enable it, 44 volts. So at the moment, if this device want to be used in automotive use cases, there is a need to use DC to DC converters from 12, 24 volts in this case. See a second question about 906. So talking about, so this question is answered. Then any updates for RUT906? So RUT 906, we will see. At the moment, we're not maybe thinking actively. However, with enough demand, it's possible to expect that RUT 906 can have such an update in the future. Do the eSIM support for HDP22 or HDP32? So at the moment, our routers and all solutions supports HDP22 variant, which gives the flexibility for our partners and users to enable eSIMs in many ways. So one way is, of course, going through web UI with the QR codes or just entering required string to pull the SIM card. However, if you want to do a remote provisioning of our eSIM, our RMS has all the possibilities enabled for remote provisioning of eSIMs through a device without getting inside, and even that provisioning can be done on multiple devices at the same time when providing the correct information through our system. The router can monitor and display the voltage and current used on each port. To my knowledge, the RDOS will be able to show the status of the POE. And of course, it should be similar to what it's done with TSW devices who has the POE out. So we're talking here about managed TSW devices. So this would be similar. I see a few questions about M31. So regarding those part, I have to just contact your sales representative, and he will be able to help with all the questions you have about RUTM31. Does RUT951 has serial port? No. RUT951 belongs to our professional devices group or portfolio, which does not involve serial communication. In this case, if you need serial communication, we still have to go with RUT956 or other devices at the moment. So did I heard correctly that RUT requires minimum 44 volts DC? So if you want to activate the PoE out, yes, it requires minimal 44 volts DC. However, if PoE part is not required for you, it still perfectly works starting from 9 volts. So, in cases where PoE is not required, you can use 9 volts, and it has that range, again, as all our devices, can be powered through low voltages to high. However, to have PoE available, you have to start from 44 volts.
Maybe you could comment what is the difference between 5G regular and 5G private networks?
Essentially, regular 5G and private 5G networks uses a bit different bands. However, to my knowledge, all the devices of ours, 5G enabled, can work in private 5G networks. And in this case, I know that there are projects in Lithuania where our X50 is used in those projects. So again, RUTM30 can be easily work in those projects as well, since it will use the 5G release 16 modem, which can work in those private 5G networks. However, if you have more regards, always check with the private 5G provider and compare with our datasheets to ensure that all the required bands are met, since again, in most cases, the private and standard 5G differs in the specific band support.
Did we cover that question about the PoE ports control, activation, deactivation from the web UI?
I'm just mentioned about the monitoring, but yes, the whole controls about PoE ports should be done, as mentioned, as the same manner as it done it with TSW 202. Yeah, I think 202, if I remember correctly. So it should be able to control that part. Yes, IP rating for all the devices we presented today is IP30, meaning that 3 for dust ingress and 0 for water resistance. Yes, since all of our routers, these 3 are not exception. They all can be controlled, monitored via RMS using the configuration manager and all the new features which RMS brought just several weeks ago. Regarding in the case of remote large area networks, my sanctuary farm in Australia, I want to deploy PoE routers for wildlife free and secure surveillance as far as maximum distance between injection points between each RUT951. Is there a payoff between device draw against cable length? By the standard of Ethernet, devices should and have to comply and provide communications and power over 100 up to 100 meters. Far beyond, it's again depends on situation, but up to 100 meters should work perfectly. However, it's always addressed, to achieve maximum capabilities and maximum power. I always suggest to go and keep cable lengths at a minimum. I see question about M30 cover the US and Mexican bands. Again, for M30, at the moment, we're starting with EMEA, APAC regions. For US and more global coverage, we'll have another device. Currently, maybe I don't want to talk more about it, but there will be another M-series device, compact M-series device, which will cover North America region.
Thank you, Thomas. I see that there was activity in the chat window, and we will try to extract all these questions from chat window and post the answers for the questions in our website alongside with our webinar recording. And I see we have still time for the one last question. Maybe we can answer Casper.
Yeah, for sure, no problem. So the question is, do your device support automatic failover between 5G LTE and wired band connections? If so, is the typical switchover time in cases of a link failover? So yes, our devices, our root OS, essentially we cannot, maybe not want to just stay with devices. Our root OS does have failover or load balancing capabilities. In your case, device by default is configured to use 5G LTE as the main, and secondary is the WAN part. The switching time, switch over time, because it's not active bonding, it takes like a second or two, to switch between two active connections, because both 5G modem or 5G LTE modem is active and a WAN connection is active. It's a matter in most cases of few seconds to switch from one to another. So a short hiccup as expected, but again, nothing major not the major time goes. No, it's several seconds between connections to move on.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you for all attendees for your questions. How I mentioned before, we will upload the recording to our website. The video will be available there soon, and also we will upload all the answer for the questions. So thank you all for your attendance once again, and I hope you heard interesting information today. And I would like to invite you to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter to get all the news first in line. And also, whenever you have questions about our products, our remote management system, or anything else, please contact us. You can find contact form in our website. And also, you can contact your dedicated sales managers who are the experts in IoT market. So thanks you once again, and hope to see you soon. See ya.